Carson gets traded there, I'm definitely going to look sick in that Black Panthers jersey, man. I can't wait to move to Charlotte.
Oh, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
What'd she have?
She chewed the tail off the hippo.
That's our intro.
Yeah.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it. Yep.
Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Birds vs. Boys. We are on Aidan. I think it's episode 44, might be 45, but I'm going to go with 44 because that's what producer Vince says it is. And we never not listen to producer Vince. It's Super Bowl week, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a packed show for you, including an electric interview with Colin Thompson, friend of Branded Sports and the tight end for the Carolina Panthers, one of our favorite teams, not a bird or a boy on this podcast. Kmess here with you. And as always, Aidan, my friend, you around?
I am around. I've been around and I've made it to the finish line. So much like the Roman numerals in the Super Bowl, I have no idea what we're at in terms of episodes, but I've been around the whole time.
So are you more excited? Because I know when we talked last week, earlier in Super Bowl week, you're always like, meh, it's okay. But towards the later end of the week, getting closer to the game, you get more excited. Is that how this week panned out?
No. I'm sorry. Well, I'll tell you what did get me excited. And I'm not just saying this to blow smoke. The interview with Colin, talking about these two teams and the way he broke them down, did get me excited for the game, made me realize how good these teams are. So yes, I will say I am more excited because of the interview and not just because it's an interview on our podcast. Leading up to that, I'm just like, it's a game. My team's not in it. We haven't been in it for a while. Not a lot of fans. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have the fanfare. There's no Radio Row. It's not going to be a packed house. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited, but we'll get into more of the Super Bowl later. Not much going on in terms of Cowboys, Eagles land. I'm not really going to talk anything Cowboys, Dak Prescott, and rumors about Deshaun Watson and other quarterbacks possibly in Dallas. We can save that for the week after the Super Bowl and the many weeks of the offseason that we have to go. But I do know before we get into the interview with Colin, you have some Eagles chatter you would like to spit.
Well, yeah, I mean, you alluded to it. It's Super Bowl week. Yet people are talking about Carson Wentz for some reason. We went 4-11-1. We have not earned the right to be talked about this week, which just blows my mind that we're still having this discussion. But I guess we'll have to talk about this report because it came out the day of our recording that Adam Schefter was on 97.5 The Fanatic and says Wentz does not want to be in Philadelphia. So there's that.
Is that a surprise?
I mean, no, if you hated your job, you'd probably want to move on from your job too. And it's just so funny how, as Eagles fans, it's like the SpongeBob wallet scene. It's like, so we hate the GM and we hate the moves he makes and the draft picks he drafts. And they've built a bad team because of it. And because of that, the offense is bad. And Carson Wentz thinks the offense is bad because we drafted badly. And the GM sucks. And he doesn't like the front office. But when he says it, he doesn't say anything, which is the funniest part. Everything, like, it's chaos. People are up in arms when he feels the exact same way as every other fan, and you complain about it nonstop. And the quarterback agrees with you. It's like, it's the meme. Why are you booing me? I'm right.
I still don't think he's going to go anywhere. Do you?
I'm now trending to the fact that I think he will.
Okay.
If he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't want to be here. You can't force him to be here. I mean, they could, but I don't think they would.
What do you think they realistically could get for him? We saw what Stafford just got. Detroit got for Stafford.
That was it. That's interesting though, because They got rid of Goff's contract. They moved one franchise quarterback for another. In this scenario, the Eagles likely wouldn't be trading. It wouldn't be quarterback for quarterback because they have Jalen Hurts, who I'm not sold on as well. So it would be a little bit different. So I don't know if it would go like that. Yeah. And I'm giving an answer that's pretty like Adam Schefter said today. So can I just read what has caused all this chaos today?
Please.
This is what he said about Carson Wentz being traded. Quote, and if a team makes the right offer, there will be a trade that will be made. But if a team doesn't make the right offer, I think that they will be open to bringing him back and having him compete in camp with Jalen Hurts. So, to me, it could go either way. What?
Like, why even put that out there?
What does that even mean?
Nothing.
That's not an answer to anything.
Nothing. That's just air.
That's what's causing chaos in the week of the Super Bowl in Philadelphia. That.
The week kind of after that JT signs, the Sixers are playing well, Flyers are playing all right, and let's talk Wentz not wanting to be here.
There are 2 Philly teams in first place, and we are discussing Carson Wentz in the week of the biggest game in the entire country. I'm tired. I'm just, why are we doing this?
Any chance they trade him to Chicago for Nick Foles?
Well, it would make some certain media members happy here. Well, I think they should do it out of spite. And when Foles comes back and isn't good, what do you think people will do?
They'll blame the coach, say he's not good in his scheme.
Yeah, it's Sirianni's fault. New guy.
He's not letting him get the ball out of his hands fast enough.
Yeah. Oh, man. Maybe Peterson can go to Chicago now. How about that? I don't think anyone's brought that up.
No.
So I like that.
I hate that. Especially since who knows what they're going to do with Mitch Trubisky. But we can get all down those rabbit holes and conspiracy theories as the offseason goes on. Because as much as I love the NFL season, you're right. You know, this past weekend, very upset there was no football on. But then at the same time, I was like, all right, I can do this, I can do that, and I can, do other things. And I'm kind of not, I guess, done with the season. And I'm now excited for the offseason. There's so much always to look forward to in the offseason, too. Speculation, especially around your freaking Eagles. Oh, he's a free agent. He's coming to Philly.
We got nothing but time, baby. Nothing but time to talk about these things.
Aaron Donald is coming, and Khalil Mack. They're getting them both for 6th-round picks.
And Jamal Adams. Again.
Everyone.
Yep.
And Earl Thomas is coming to Dallas.
Yes, forever. It's like Calvin Johnson coming out of retirement for the Lions. Like, at what point do we say, no, this is just not going to happen?
When he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, true.
All right. You want to get into Colin here?
Yeah. So we had a great interview with Colin Thompson, tight end of the Panthers, friend of Branded Sports. He has his own podcast, and we both were at Temple at the same time, so I dove into some Temple stuff. Why we brought him on, and we get to it right away. He played both of the teams in the Super Bowl. So he was able to give us a full breakdown preview of what this game will look like. So here is our interview with Colin Thompson.
All right, Aidan, really excited to have a friend of Branded Sports on. He's been on Branded Radio. We've done some live events with him, and he's in our heart because he played at Temple. So he's a Philly guy. It's the one and only Colin Thompson, tight end from the Carolina Panthers. And we were just talking off air that, it's been like 30 days. You're getting your body back after getting beat up from the NFL season. So how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. I was dragging today a little bit, getting moving, but I'll do some body weight stuff here for the next 2 weeks. Get swimming, biking, light jogging, just get the body back rolling, and then get into the weight room integration period, and then back into it hard probably by, let's say, mid-March. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back into it. I feel like I'm always training, so the off time was really weird, and I don't really even know what it's like to not do it. It's just like a 3 or 4 hour part of my day that I just don't know how to fill. So, yeah, got to kill some time in Key West, Florida for the last month. My family rented a place down there, so that was a green light absolutely to go down there and do that and see some family and friends. And Had a great time. Had a great time.
Love it.
Well-deserved time off. As you mentioned before, as we were talking pre-show, you did XFL and then NFL. So you really didn't get a normal offseason last time. So you've been going nonstop.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So let's rewind to the NFL season quick. I told Kevin, I said, let's get Colin on this week. He'd be a great guest because you played both teams in the Super Bowl. So with those two teams, maybe you felt it on the field with the Chiefs that they were a Super Bowl contender. But in the division against Tampa Bay, did you feel like they were a Super Bowl contender when you were on the field with them?
I'll say I think he was ready to Super Bowl contender. I know it's an obvious thing, but you could see the momentum. The team was great before him, right? And then you're going to have the greatest player in NFL history. I don't think that's arguable. I don't really think you can argue that at this point. Join the team, and they have a great staff. Bunch of Temple guys on that staff, starting with Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles. And Todd played for Bruce, and then a host of 8 or 9 coaches. Did I know on the field? The first game, we had 3 turnovers, and in the first half, and it was sloppy football, and we still were down, a score in the fourth. And then the second game, it was close game, and then it just got away from us, and it just was ugly part of the season then. And then, in regards to Kansas City, we in my opinion should have won the game, and we beat ourselves both times. First time against the Bucs, and first time against Kansas City. The only time we faced them, we beat ourselves, and you can't do that to win in the NFL. But no, they're both great teams. And you asked more Tampa Bay. Did I know they'd be a Super Bowl team? They sure have the players and the coaches to have to do it, right? So, yeah, absolutely. And Tom looks just as good as he's ever been. So,
I think I'm rooting for Tampa just specifically so I can be like, well, that's the team Colin scored his touchdown against, and it's my boy. So
there you go, man. Yeah, I scored a touchdown. Fun fact, I'm walking to the sideline. I'm like, I scored a touchdown, and we're going to beat them. This is unreal. And Gronk, we're playing against Gronk, like one of my heroes growing up and watching Gronk and watching his film. I'm like, he's not even going to score today either. How cool is that going to be? So the game goes on. They run the same exact play reran, which is a fake little run play, and then a little pop pass to the tight end, and boom, they were in the same play. He scored in the same end zone in the same exact spot I did. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that's a fun little fact about that one. But it's great for them. I'll say this, like, I have arguments with people all the time. I hate Alabama. We hate Tom Brady. Hate the Patriots. I'm like, why? Like, I get it. It's fanhood and fans. I'm not going to complain. Pay the bills. It's moved the media. It's great. But, like, they're the standard of just excellence every year. Like, that's so impressive. Like, I was cheering for Bama to smoke whoever they played, and they absolutely smoked them. And I was like, great. I love it. They do it the right way. They've been doing it the right way forever. New England did, and Tom has. And, I'm not rooting for any of them. I paid them both, especially Tampa in our division. But, I mean, you cannot help but sit and admire Tom Brady and really enjoy Tom Brady because of his success throughout his career.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the other team, maybe at the end of his career, we're saying Mahomes passes him. And we alluded to it earlier, and you had said it. I thought it at the time when you guys played them. I really thought you guys were going to go into Arrowhead and win that game. But it was a bit of a shootout, 33-31. Do they feel faster than other NFL teams? Does the speed of the game increase against them?
No, not for in my world. No, who we face, a defensive end or a linebacker, or you're running around against a guy. I mean, Tyrann Matthew the Honey Badger, he runs around. He's pretty active. But by far the most crap talker we faced all year. That's a fun tidbit for you guys.
Love that.
Never stopped. I mean, like, oh my gosh, bro, are you done yet? Like, we just had an 8-yard gain, like on a run. Like, what you didn't even make the tackle, but an unbelievable player, right? He's a Pro Bowler every year. He's a great talent, a stud player, really is. Does it the right way, plays the right way, and I love the banter, pre, during, and post snap. That's gets me going too. So, no, I mean, offensively, yeah, right. They play a different game. They play. I think we held them to 33 or 30 yards rushing, and they scored 33 points, and they threw for 450. And Coach will always preach, like, we're in man coverage. Like, when they start to scramble, you got to get your eyes on your man. I think we played Green Bay pretty well that way because that was a close game with Green Bay. We beat ourselves again. Should have won that game late in the year because defensively, those guys are just dialed in man-to-man coverage. It's extremely hard to play man-to-man in this league.
Mhm.
They're ridiculous. Then the odds are against you with pass interference, and there's so much creative stuff offensively. So you could see. And the guys were dialed in defensively against Kansas City, but you could see as the year went on, especially against Green Bay. It's a winnable game against an offense that was really good. So NFC, they almost were play for play away from the NFC Championship game. So it's a great question. Are they faster? I mean, Tampa's pretty fast too. Miller's pretty fast, and they got a lot of speed, and Godwin, and now Antonio Brown's out. But it's a great question. But no, I don't feel that, but I watch them on TV. They sure as hell look pretty fast.
You see the Scotty Miller drop that he says he's faster than the Cheetah. So the Cheetah was like, "Why don't we race during halftime of the Super Bowl?" Can you imagine like the weekends, like all of a sudden stopping and like emceeing, and they're like both at the end zone, like, let's get this going.
He's fast, man. I remember Coach Rule saying, like, "Oh, you're talking about all these receivers, all this speed," and they're like, "Who do you think's the fastest receiver on the team?" Everyone's saying, Brown, they're going running through the list. Godwin, it was him. It play speed wise. The analytics of like 20 something miles an hour he ran or whatever. Like, I don't think I've ever even probably broke 15 miles an hour. So, I wish I was running that on kickoff. Maybe I'd open it up on there a little bit, but I didn't kickoff this year. So.
All right, that kind of brings me into my next question. So this season for the Panthers, obviously you were in on blocking plays and running routes. So who was the toughest guy you had to match up in a pass blocking situation, and then the hardest guy you had to run a route against?
That's a great question. Great question. Let's see. We face so many guys. The thing about the NFL, it's like,
I know that's and so many guys just in your division too.
Yeah, right. And then we played Washington. They were the best group, I thought, total. They just have so many guys up front. And Matt Ioannidis, a buddy of mine from Temple, he's not even
high school too. Shout out Hunter and Central.
That's right, Jersey. Yeah, he's not even there, right? And they got a great D line. Obviously, with Sweat, and then the young stud on the other side, Chase Young, who was a great guy and one of the most interesting guys I played with, mature. Like, I couldn't believe like how mature he was. We were taking a knee, and he's telling guys to be respectful and do it the right way. And he's out there running out, and he slapped Heineke on the ass on fourth down on a TV timeout. I don't know if he made it on TV or not, but the guys, he ran out onto the field. I thought they were doing a trick play. I'm like, why is he out there? So I'm rambling on, but that's the fun part about these. He can. I'll speak more to the groups that were really good. Chubb was great in Denver. Obviously, Chicago with Mac. And the guy from Dallas who played in Dallas, Quinn. So they're good. The list goes on. Our division's great. Henderson and Cam Jordan, obviously Shaq Barrett and JPP, and with the Bucks. Who am I missing from Atlanta? Dante Fowler.
Yep.
McKinley I think it's McKinley, right? But he got cut. He was hurt for our games. But they still got great guys. So, no, this league, there's not a short of pass rushers per se, or, like a run stuffer. We go down our list. That list goes on and on. I'm trying to think who else we faced. Bosa with the Chargers. Every week, man, that was a chore. It was a chore. At least it felt like that. That's, I'll be honest with you. I look at the schedule for next year. It's out, but not out when it comes to dates. I'm like already going through. I'm like, okay, we got the Eagles. We got – the big man there who was one of the most underrated players in the league, and Brandon Graham, especially in the run game. Guys is unbelievable. I went through the whole list in my head. I'm like, okay, we face DC again. We play our guys in division. So it's always fun for me. We go to Buffalo. They have players. So, I'm already looking at the schedule next year, having fun with that as well. My family is.
Work. Yeah, and hopefully by then we can actually have more people in the crowds. And I know you even tweeted about it this week, and we talked about it on Branded Radio months ago about your idea to pack the Super Bowl, right? Give everybody what your idea was.
So I think I just came up with it on the fly sitting with you guys. It just triggered my brain. The coffee was just kicking at the right time. And I was buzzing. I had the idea. So it didn't get a lot of traction on Twitter when I tweeted the other day either. I was like, that's fine. I don't care if somebody said, it can't be done. But essentially the idea is, breaking it down, is why not allow fans pay their way, say the ticket's $20,000. It includes 10 days in a hotel, three square meals, a bed, a private room for you and your guest that's coming to the game, COVID testing every morning. You got to stay in the facility, wear contact tracers, do it all, charge whatever. It's already exclusive event enough. Someone's like, oh, that makes it too exclusive. I'm like, oh man, the cheapest ticket's over $1,000, so it's pretty exclusive as it is. Make it super exclusive, charge $20,000 a ticket, allow people to quarantine, and let's show that we can do this, the most powerful league in the world, let's fill the Super Bowl and everyone's COVID free. How cool would that be? It'd be tremendous. Now, I know there's absolutely massive hurdles of fitting 60,000 people, but this place called Disney, about an hour and a half away, that seems to be able to do it. Now, why would they do it? What benefits for them? There's so much business. That would take a year of planning, but it'd be cool. Why not? They're doing it right now. Or how about this? Let's put all people that have done the vaccine. Let's put 65,000 people that are all vaccinated, hospital workers and whatever. It would be great to sell it out. It's still fantastic. The NFL, the state of Florida, whatever they're doing to get people in, because there's going to be people there, which is cool. It's really not going to look that funky. Yeah, sure, it's not packed, but compared to games this year, as you guys know, it's funky. I played in the games. There's nobody there. It is like a scrimmage in college. It's like a high school scrimmage. It's weird, very weird. It's like you hear everything. It's very unique. So, yeah, that was the idea. Pack it, make sure everyone get tested, and go from there. But it didn't happen. But hey, it's still fantastic work the NFL did this year. Unreal work with the stuff they did to protect us, and get through every single game, which is so impressive, really.
It is, and sending a lot of frontline workers there too, vaccinated frontline workers, which is awesome. So
fantastic.
Before I let Aidan start unloading you with Temple questions, which I know he's very excited about, being dual Temple guys here. We've talked a lot about both teams in the Super Bowl. Just what kind of game do you think this is going to be on Sunday between the Bucs and the Chiefs, and who do you think ultimately walks away with it, if you want to tell us?
Yeah, why not? I was opposed to it before, but I still act like I've always had a nervous feeling. I'm opening up more now of like, I'm going to get cut if I say this or say that. And I'm not saying I'm going to come out here and I'm going to curse and do whatever and not be PC at times. But yeah, I thought about that and like, why wouldn't I give a pick? Like, who cares? Like, so it doesn't really matter. I just got to go play well. That's how I'll make the team. So there's a little me rambling again and just a little insight of what goes into a mind of a player in the NFL who's starting a podcast again and doing more radio stuff.
Heck yeah.
Hope I'm not doing this next year. Hopefully I'm in the game, and I'll still come on, Brandon, but in the game's way more fun than this.
Absolutely.
But to answer your question, geez, I'm rambling tonight. I'll talk about the two teams briefly. I thought Tampa was going to come out and run the ball against Green Bay, and I just love how their tight ends are used in the run game. I love Godwin comes down and blocks. They do a lot of simple things. Fournette. Who's the other back in Tampa? Is it Williams or is it
Jones?
They've got Ronald Jones. Yeah.
Ronald Jones.
Right. So he's like a little bit more speed than Leonard, but still downhill. I like their run game. I really do. And I like Tom handles the run game better than a lot of quarterbacks. Not better than a lot of quarterbacks, but he's been doing it forever. And he's seen everything. He hasn't, they all do. They're all brilliant. But I love the way the Bucs run the ball. Simple. They just run right behind tight ends. And they do a lot of really good things with the receivers, like I said. So I like the way the Bucs run the ball. I think they're going to try to establish that. Sure, they'll take shots, and they're going to take the best one-on-one matchups. That's what they, teams that throw the ball always do, and that's what the league is now, is all matchups in the secondary and for the tight ends. And I like the Bucs tight end group. I've said it. OJ, Cameron, and obviously Rob. They're just a really good group. So I like that. Defensively, personnel-wise, I love what their D-line does in Tampa. They're another top D-line. I mentioned them with Shaq and JPP and Sue inside. They have depth, and the Golston's the biggest player we played against this year. He's a beast. I like their backers. They do a lot of great things. I remember when I was in high school or when I was doing media for the Eagles, I'm like, the Eagles have to take the kid from LSU. He's a white. He's a monster, and the Eagles.
We didn't.
Yeah. So I just like what he did at LSU. These SEC guys are just run around like crazy men, and they do really good. So I like the Bucs. What they have on both offensive line, defensive line, running backs, and then and Kansas City. I'll flip to that. I like everything that Kelsey does. You never can stop him. He's in the Kansas City runs the same exact offense as the Eagles, same terminology, same everything. At least the old offense, and it's going to be the same thing now with the new coach with the Colts and Frank Wright. I'm assuming so. The way Zach Ertz gets open all the time, Kelsey does the same thing, and they're going to scheme him open. So I like both what they do. The cheetah, obviously, but I think really what's going to hurt Kansas City, and this is where my pick's going to come up, is both of their tackles are out. I think that's massive. And last week, you saw with a thinner offensive line in Green Bay how Tampa was able to take advantage of it. They just got in Aaron's face. I mean, and they're long. Shaq Barrett gets paid a lot of money. JPP gets paid a lot of money. Todd Bowles has been doing it forever. And I just my pick's going to be Tampa. I think Tampa's got it this year. They've gotten better and better and better. And Tom obviously has had a huge impact, and that team's got a lot closer. So I like a lot what Tampa does. I just like their personnel. They just have a lot of depth. We played them twice, so I got to know their personnel pretty well. Got hit in the mouth a few times, So but I respect both teams. Obviously, we had a battle with Kansas City, and I have some friends on both teams too. So it's hard to make picks against them. But I really. Sounds weird. I hope they both win. They got some great guys on teams that I know really well. And, I hope Andy Reid wins because I supported him in Philly and I was, I'm close with the Morning Wag family and I pounded the table for, the Morning Wags and for Andy and all that to stay, but it just didn't work out. And then obviously on the flip side, you got the Temple connection in Tampa, but I don't want both of them. I said I want them both to win, but I hope they both lose. But if you had to ask me who's going to win the game, along with an answer is Tampa. I think Tampa wins.
Yeah, I agree with you too. With the I mean, if I'm two backup tackles, I mean, Shaq Barrett and JPP are not the two guys that I want to see trotting out there every play against me.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes he's going to overcome it, right? He's going to overcome a lot of it. It's going to happen because he's just unreal, and their offense is unreal, and they still have great players inside. I mean, and those backup tackles are still great players, but I mean. Yeah, they're both really good pass rushers. I face them both, and they both have different skill sets, but different God-given gifts. But yeah, I like Tampa.
Yeah, I'm with you. The more the week trends, the more I'm trending Tampa, and I don't know. It's just I'm slowly talking myself into it. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm slowly talking myself into it.
And Casey's got some great pieces. I mean, it's going to be an all-time game. It's going to be a shootout, or it may not be. Who knows what it's going to be? I think you think with Mahomes shootout. Well, Brady shootout. I mean, this could be a 17-14 bloodbath. It just depends how the game's going to be played. They're all played differently. What does Kansas City come out and see? Are we going to be able to run the ball against them? Are we not going to be able to run the ball? If they can't run the ball, it's going to be a lot of short, quick passes, a lot of checks on the line of scrimmage, get the ball in their guys' hands and turn the 1 yard run into like a quick 8 yard pass or like a quick 4 yard pass, and kind of that's what you're going to live and die with the short passing game and take shots down the field. How's Tom going to see it? Are they going to pick on a corner? Are they going to scheme it? Are they going to run the ball because, hey, we got a better unit than maybe they do? I don't know, but it's fun to see. That's the game within the game, and that's why I love it. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I said this on the podcast to use the analogy. It's almost like the MJ and LeBron moment that we never got, or like the Kobe LeBron finals we got close to but never saw with Brady and Mahomes. So that's kind of how it feels this time. So I kind of, when I explain it, I'm like, yo, on this side, yeah, the Chiefs do this well, the Bucks do this well. I'm just like, all right, I'm just here for the game,
Yeah, I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. I do think Tampa's going to win, but I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth.
Of course.
All right, well, let me switch gears with you real quick. As we alluded to earlier, we were at Temple at the same time, so this is my chance to rattle off my Temple questions.
Yeah.
All right. So I'd like to start because you brought up Matt Rule before, and you guys were obviously there at Temple together. You've been reunited now, but in between, like your journeys went separate ways. So what has stuck with him? What's the same about him from when you guys were together in college to the pros? What has he taken with him from Temple?
It's a great question. People always ask me, he's a college coach. He's not going to make it. I always the first person to be like, you're crazy. Like, this isn't a college coach thing. I get it in the past. Like, an Eagles person be like, oh, Chip Kelly's offense. Like, let's remember, it worked. It worked. It's still in the league. It's all over the league, Chip stuff. But what Coach Rule brings, to answer your question, is the ability to connect with all players at a high level and ability to have a pulse over his building at a high level. He understands what goes on. He understands what everyone's mindset is. Everyone is on the same page, moving and rowing in the right direction. The PJ Fleck, row the boat. I mean, that's really what PJ's saying is like, everyone's got to be on the same page. Everyone's got to be moving in the right direction, whether it's the wrong direction or the right direction, but hey, we're all moving in one. And Coach Rule is I think the best with just people, handling people, the ability to connect, be true, get the most out of his players. And one thing he always said, and I loved, is I want you to play your best football with us as your coach. And if you're not utilizing your coaches enough, or we're not using, coming to you enough and teaching enough, we need to know. And that's just true. That's true talk out of a team meeting it just sticks with me is we're here to help you become the best player you can be under us, under our staff. And that's how we'll be graded as coaches. And I've been a huge Coach Rule fan for a very long time. He gave me an opportunity where I didn't have one. Sure, at Temple, things were tough. It wasn't always, roses. But I always look back and smile saying that this is the best thing that ever happened in my life. And it fell into my lap. I didn't even mean to go there. I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go to a big program, and I begged for offers and went from the number one tight end in the country in 2012, and then 2014, I couldn't get an offer if I begged for one other than Temple University and Matt Rule saying, I'll give you all the time you want. So best thing I ever did. And I owe him and Ed Foley and that staff who I'm lucky to go to work with still a ton. There's nothing like it to go to work with people that on a daily basis. And this year was just great. There wasn't a bad day of work, and I'm lucky to say we get to do that through a pandemic. It's a blessing.
Yeah, it's always felt like he's kind of I don't know if people person is the right term, but somebody who understands people and understands players. So it's good to hear from you that kind of is on brand with who he is.
Yeah,
that's how it's always felt.
As a Cowboys fan, I was hoping for him to come down to Dallas last year, and it still blew my mind that he didn't even get an interview.
He was right there.
I thought he was. I'm like, he's not going to, I didn't even know what to expect. I thought he was going to the Giants, to be honest with you. He coached there, and he knows a lot of people there. And, yeah, I mean, when I was at the Giants, I told this story now in a few podcasts. I would be next to Evan Ingram walking in the hallway, and all you hear is Temple tough from scouts and all the people that work with Matt when he was there, Coach Rule, and they loved him. So I went from the undrafted tight end who no one should know to a lot of people knew, and we had great relationships with many people, which was really cool. Many scouts and coaches, and I had no business. Evan Ingram's a 13th pick or whatever the Giants had that year, and he's an All-American. I'm just All-American Athletic Conference. So honorable mention, by the way.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
That is funny though. But it makes me more surprised because I remember the rumors that he was going to the Giants, and then they just didn't call him back. And everything happens for a reason, like he talked about. Ended up at Temple in 2014. So I got one more Temple question for you, because I feel like I get the fan perspective a lot, but never a player perspective. So the stadium situation, as a former player and from a player's perspective, are you for the stadium on campus or okay with where they're at now playing at the Link?
I'll say this. There is some positives to the Link. You're able to tailgate. You're able to sell the environment of this isn't chaos here. If I'm a family of whatever, it's affordable to get into a game and eat under $100. There's not long lines. Like, to me, if I'm a dad and I have kids and, me and my wife want to go to a game and experience some cool college football, and Temple's playing Tulsa, that's a great environment. The game's at noon, there's fireworks, there's noise. It gets fun. You're home by 5. There's no traffic. Like, that's a great environment to me. If you're like a Philadelphia sports fan, right? You just want to go experience some football. And the tailgates are great. They really are. I've been able to partake in the fun. I've been able to partake in the playing side. I've been able to partake in doing radio shows from there. So I've done a lot of different aspects of the Temple tailgate, and it's really great. They do a great job with it. They really do. So that's the perk. And then you get out and you get Xfinity Live right there, and you get Subway into the city, and that's a cool sell. But it is a no-brainer to put a stadium on that campus, and there's room for it. And there's definitely some things in motion. I'll say that may not be talked about, but I'm sure there are, because they're spending a lot of money to go to the Link. It's not a cheap place to play football. They're just a property that Temple pays rent to. So I would love for an on-campus stadium. Every train in the Philadelphia area stops and starts at Temple University. So if you're going to the airport, you get on at Temple. I did it many times. You're going to University City, you get on, or you stop at Temple. That's the last stop. So it's a great sell. Come down to the game. Show your ticket. You get 50% off step, whatever it is. The marketing side of it, the fun side of it, the city side of it, the way it would clean up and just not clean up, but it would add a friendlier face to Temple, even though they've done a marvelous, ridiculously awesome job. I said marvelous. I can't believe it. Marvelous job of making that campus pop. It's really a beautiful place from where I went to camp there in 2008 to where it is now. So the on-campus stadium is a no-brainer. Where it was supposed to go is a no-brainer. You close a street off that is a one-lane road that 15 cars park on. Blows my mind. It's crazy. People used to pick at our training table like I was going to be around for the stadium. Like, I'm eating dinner. I'm just going to class. I'm not going to be here for this, So, yeah, it's something I'm pretty passionate about. There has to be a stadium there, and Temple's trending in the right direction. I know Coach Carey and the staff's trying to put a better product on the field. And this year was a tough year for the Owls. They had to deal with a lot of COVID stuff. They really did. I feel bad for them, but nonetheless, it's time. It's time to put yourself on a map. Really, all the city championship games. It could be the palestra of football, soccer. And it would do wonders for the university. And it's already trending in the right direction. So, yeah, why not? Why not? I think if there's a will, there's a way, and maybe it'll get done. Who knows? But it doesn't help. The pandemic doesn't help. That's for sure.
They deserve it. That's for sure. The team and that university deserves a stadium of their own.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get you out of here, let the people know you mentioned your podcast. Talk to us about your podcast and your aspirations of, media. Cause I know you've done Countdown to Kickoff with Krause and you've done a lot of stuff with us. So
yeah, this is my 4th or 5th, either podcast today, two of my own radio show. Yeah. This is the week here. It's always 4th Super Bowl, which is great. I'm blessed to be able to do this. I'm going to be doing a show with John McMullen on Saturday. But yeah, so I started the Not For Long podcast when I got cut by the Giants and found out the NFL stood not for long, literally. And after that, I was told, hey, you got emergency appendectomy. We'll keep you for 2 weeks. You'll be fine. And then 48 hours later, they cut me and said, we want your roster spot, which I get. It's part of the business. I have no problem with. I understand. So I started the Not For Long podcast. I've done maybe 4 or 5 versions of it, of maybe 10 or so podcasts. And I'm like, it's really cool. And it could be really great, but I need some help. So I brought on a producer. I brought on a little bit of a marketing team, really person in Autumn. She's fantastic. And then Dion, who is our producer, and we went to high school together at Wood, and he played football at Cal. So we're just a great little team we put together, and I'm ecstatic about it. And we're just waiting to gather 3 or so podcasts, and then we're going to pump them out. I actually just did we're going to do them all at once, kind of do a whole thing and help the marketing, area out with that as well. And I just actually did some interviews the one podcast is going to be all stories of just John Chaney.
That's great.
Good idea.
So yeah, we'll have just 4 people on. Kevin Agandi, Harry Donahue, Mike Jensen does it. He's covered him forever, and then maybe some other ones we're working on. Maybe Aaron McKee or some former Temple basketball players. So we're going to put that out. I'll put 2 others out with some pretty big names that I'm working on. Yeah, so it's called the Not for Long podcast. The social media and everything's dormant right now. All the podcasts you see on there, they'll all go into the archives part of our website, and then we're going to start a brand new one and just continue it out. Do one once a week. And the help is already such a sigh of relief for me, because producing, doing your social media, setting up the interviews, doing all that stuff yourself was fun. I did it for 2 podcasts and 4 versions of this podcast, but I need some help now. So yeah,
Trust me, we know about that. Our behind the scenes.
I know you guys do, man. Not for Long podcast. Check it out, and I appreciate you guys having me on again, man. I love coming on, Brandon, and anytime you guys want me to on, I'd love to join.
Awesome. Colin, well, hopefully next year, like you said, we'll be watching you in this game and not talking to you about it.
I hope so, man. We got a great team. We really do. And I'm focused on just making the team at this point. But, if everything goes well, it's just a great city, great ownership, and Mr. Tepper. And we have a new general manager and Coach Rule, and our staff's great. And we have a great team. We really do. We got some unbelievable pieces and players and people. And I love going to work with them this year.
Yeah, we followed you close this year. It's the Birds versus Boys pod, but Aidan, I think we were very, very pro Panthers this year.
Yeah,
I bet on Carolina so much. I don't know. It's just because of the Temple ties. Where every time I would be like, what?
Yeah, Rule's going to turn it around.
Yep.
Yeah, all the Temple guys, man. So we'll see. I like our team. We got a lot, man. Robbie Anderson had a great year. You got Sam Franklin came in for Temple and had a nice year. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys. So I wouldn't be shocked if more come on in. It wouldn't surprise me. So.
Yeah, love it. Hopefully. Love it. Well, Colin, go start your running, a little biking, maybe some swimming, and get that body ready to go. And before you know it, you'll be back on here talking to us, and we'll be listening to the Not for Long podcast as well. So thank you for spending a little time with us, bud.
Well, we got the Birds next. You go down to Carolina. We'll have to come on, Brandon, then we can talk about it.
Absolutely. 100%.
Anytime, guys. Seriously, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks for your support.
Awesome. Thanks, Colin.
All right, be well.
Another A-plus guest here on Birds vs. Boys. Another thank you to Colin Thompson for hopping on with us. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Colin Thompson TU. Check out the Not for Long podcast, which sounds like the episodes that are going to be upcoming are going to be a blast. And hey, maybe we'll get on there one day with them. Aidan, how much fun was that?
It was great for me because that's someone we've crossed paths for ages without ever knowing each other. So back through high school, if we really want to do it, like his high school played the one high school that I went to in the state championship. We were at Temple at the same time. So obviously we have the Temple connection. Now he's a friend of Brandon. We're both into like the sports media and like Not for Long podcast and Brandon Sports have linked up. So we have been connected without knowing we've been connected, and then had that great interview. So I loved it.
Yeah. That was like you said, to start the show, he definitely got me excited for this Super Bowl game. Just the analysis of each teams, and then thinking about how they're going to play each other. And, I kept thinking to myself weeks ago that, I don't think anyone's going to stop the Chiefs. But then if you really think about it, with those 2 tackles out and they have to go against guys like JPP and Shaq Barrett, it's not going to be an easy game for the Chiefs. So I do think this is going to be a fun and entertaining game. And Colin really got me the most fired up I've been for the Super Bowl yet.
Tampa hits hard, man. That defense, they force turnovers and they will hit you.
And our guy Winfield will be back.
Yes. Antoine Winfield, Jeremy Chin on the Panthers. I love. Did you catch when he was talking about Devin White? And I was like, but they didn't. Of course. I don't know if he knew what I was doing, because he doesn't listen to me rant and complain every week. But enough of that. Let's talk about some teams that are in this. Let's bring Vince on. Let's do what the people came here for. Some TikTok comments and content for Super Bowls and the things that we as fans get excited for. So we're going to do 2 things here all as a group. 1, rank our favorite Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
2, the best part of the Super Bowl, prop bets. So which of those 2 would you like to go with first, fellas?
I'll go Super Bowls, past, and then we'll end with the prop bets for this game.
I like
That
it.
works for me. Yeah, I agree. I think that order works. All right. So we're all 3 of us going to list 3 Super Bowls in reverse order. So 3 to 1.
Mhm.
I'm assuming Vince is going last. I have no idea if he will even choose a Super Bowl. He'll probably have found some like championship game in 1949 that didn't count as a Super Bowl. So I'm
He's gonna be
assuming you're
FIFA World Cup games. That is football.
that's football. Yep. Good call. All right. So I'm assuming he'll go last. Kevin, would you
Mhm.
like to be first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first. We can go around the normal triangle.
That works. One last time this year, fellas.
Let's do it.
All right. So at 3, I have Super Bowl LI 51, the Patriots 28-3 comeback over the Falcons. One last shot at the Falcons this year, baby. That's what started it all for them. That was the beginning of the end. And to me, that was the defining moment of Tom Brady's career. The year before, they had the stupid, moronic deflate gate, which was just so dumb. The air in the ball does not matter. He's the greatest of all time. Proved it that day.
Love it. My number 3, I don't know if either of you were alive for this. Super Bowl 27 in 1992. Cowboys 52, Bills 17.
I was -2.
We're on Super Bowl 55. That was at least 30 years ago.
Super Bowl 27, baby.
I mean, we can do the exact math of how many years ago.
Cowboys 52, Bills 17.
You said 27.
Mhm.
Okay.
27.
My number 3. Surprisingly, I'm going back a little bit here. Not as far back as you guys were saying. I'm going Super Bowl. I think it was XLI, Super Bowl 41, Colts and Bears.
Mm.
Oh my
That
god.
it was just a mess of a game. Rained the whole time. Peyton Manning only threw for he threw for 247, which isn't a ton of yards. He had an interception, but everyone remembers it for that Devin Hester kickoff return to start the game.
Rex Grossman, baby.
You're right. I only remember the Devin Hester play.
I was in
Supposed to
college.
rain this week.
I remember there was. I don't even. It was 2007, so I think I was like 9 years old, like 8 or 9.
I was in middle school.
And I remember there was like a bobbled snap. Like I just remember this being a slop fest of a game, and I enjoyed the whole thing.
It was fun. That was a fun game.
All right, let's do 2. So my number 2, I have Super Bowl XLIII, Super Bowl 43. Steelers beat the Cardinals 27-23. It was a game where Harrison had the 101-yard interception return barely for a touchdown, and then obviously the Santonio Holmes catch, which I think is, to me, with like the greatest Super Bowl catch of all time. Just incredible. And it was a fantastic game. I really thought the Cardinals had a great team that year. They beat the Eagles that year. And a bonus for that, preceding that game on television was the greatest episode of The Office of all time. So,
oh, you're right.
Yeah, it was the episode where Dwight started a fire in the office.
Mm-hmm.
That was preceding the Super Bowl. So that gives it a boost.
All right.
That Super Bowl actually gave us the best Madden cover of all time, in my opinion, too.
Weren't they both on the cover? Is Larry Fitzgerald?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was a senior in college. You guys keep picking my fun drinking years of college. All right. So I'm now going to Super Bowl 28 in 1993, the year after Super Bowl 27, when the Cowboys won again. Cowboys 30, Bills 13. They scored 17 the year before, held them to 13 that game. And the MVP, my boy, my hero, Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt who?
The all-time leading rusher in the National Football League that you watch every Sunday and Thursday and sometimes Saturdays and maybe Wednesdays and an occasional Tuesday.
Must have been before my time.
DVD taper, it didn't happen.
So my number 2, this is a pick that Aidan predicted. I have Super Bowl 53, LII, Rams and Patriots, just an absolute nightmare of a football game. I loved it the whole time. Like, it was a joke that it was like, oh, a punter's going to be the MVP. Like, I actually thought that one of the punters may have been the MVP of that game. That's how it was looking for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just remember that game for the Barstool incident where they should have never arrested Dave Portnoy because that's all anyone's ever going to remember because the game was so bad.
Yep.
Honestly, like, if my first pick wasn't any indication, I love just chaos. Like, that game was absolute chaos. It was chaos on the internet. And that was also the day we found out 21 Savage was British. And I don't know if you remember that day on Twitter. That was an amazing day on Twitter.
Well, I'll give you that. It should be in the rankings in terms of like one of the greatest days in Twitter history.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The last one. Our number one. So my number one Super Bowl. It goes without saying, you see the banner, you see everything. I have it tattooed on my arm, the score of the game, Super Bowl LII, Eagles 41, Patriots 33, the greatest offensive masterpiece of all time. I believe it was the greatest offensive efficiency game of all time. Like I said, I have it tattooed on me. How could I not choose this number one?
How could it not be? You had one to choose from in your lifetime. I have three. So number one for me is Super Bowl XXX, Super Bowl 30 in 1995, Cowboys 27, Pittsburgh Steelers 17 in Sun Devil Stadium, Tempe, Arizona. The MVP. You know who the MVP was?
Roger Staubach.
Larry Brown, baby, cornerback, pick 6 during the game. His career was a disaster. He stunk his whole career, but he had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, MVP. XXX, 1995.
How obvious is it for the Cowboys to win Super Bowl XXX? I think the only more obvious team would have been like the 86 Mets or like the Raiders.
Yeah.
What do you know about the 86 Mets?
There's a 30 for 30.
Yeah.
True.
So my number one, it's 52. I tried to think of a clever one here. There's no getting around it. This was the game where I found that I can get emotional in sports. We didn't really have much to, get excited about in Philly for a while. I was 10 when the Phillies won the World Series. I was 11 when they lost the World Series. So like, this is the first time, and you get so you don't cry because it's not that deep, but like you're like, come on. But it was the first time I was like, oh, like I feel something because it's something that happened on the sports. That's crazy.
My dick moved. Crazy.
Also, the first bet I ever won.
There you go.
Wow, congratulations. That's
Thanks.
not a bad bet to win for the first time.
Right.
So, so Super Bowl 27, 28, and 30 for me.
I had Super Bowl, where are we here? 51, 43, 52.
41, 53, 52.
Nice. All right. Now
Real
let's get
quick,
into
did I ever tell you I interviewed Roger Staubach once?
No, but that's very random that I chose him and you also interviewed him.
It was a bummer. He's real old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
I did not watch him play.
And also he got hit in the head a lot.
Yeah. Where do you go to college?
Navy. That's where we were.
Yes, sir.
Ooh,
I
that's a good
interviewed
trivia question.
I interviewed them for Navy.
Love
Nice.
it. Get him on here.
Annapolis, baby.
Speaking of former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, coming on with us next week, the one and only Quincy Carter.
Can we just
Dallas
talk about how
Cowboys
crazy that is for a second? by the
legend.
way? Like, can we talk about how like this is just some podcast, and a guy that played quarterback for the Cowboys is coming on.
Maybe we're not just some podcast anymore, Vince.
No, this is always some This is always going to be just some podcast.
Mhm.
That's true. That is true. Even if we were famous, this would still be some podcast.
We are famous, and you mean when we're more famous?
Yeah.
is what you're
More.
saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't it just like a little bit silly that we're getting like a quarterback from America's team on this podcast? Just
And
It's
send
gonna be
them to the
really-
playoffs.
Well, wait till he starts interacting with us, and he'll be like, "Oh man, this was a mistake.
I'll be like, whoops.
Oops, gotta go.
Connection timed out."
Oh.
He'll be like, it expired 40 minutes. And be like, nope, this isn't Zoom.
I have a feeling he's going to be the hardest guy to get on through StreamYard that we've had so far.
All right. let's get back on track here. All right. So let's wrap this up. Let's talk about this year, this moment in time, before interviews in the future, before Super Bowls in the past. We have the Super Bowl coming up. Let's talk about the most important part of it, which is prop bets. So I think you guys chose 3, correct? Because I chose 3, so I was assuming you did. All right, let's go in the same order here. I think this is going to get wacky, but to me, the randomness that is betting on super random factoids of the Super Bowl is the best part. So let's get into it here. I'll give my first one. It's a little bit of a double dip. So kicking points. Over 8.5 for Harrison Butker. Over 7.5 for Ryan Suckup. So I think both kickers get over. I think it'll be high scoring. I had both fantasy. I had both these guys. I'll tell you what, they were hitting over at 8.5 and 7.5 a lot of times this year.
I like that. I'd be over on both, I think.
That's 3 field goals each.
Yes.
Well, if extra points count, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Oh, so that's money.
Say the Bucs scored 27 points. Cash.
Yep. Free money.
And
say they score 13 points. Cash.
Mm-hmm. All right, my first, yeah.
Don't take my betting advice. Should have been the first thing that we said.
Just go with, the first one works.
I was thinking, 16. 16. 3 field goals in it.
Yes. Yeah, that would work. My first prop here, Brady's first pass, complete or incomplete. I'm going complete minus 180. The first 15 are scripted. It's going to be, his first pass will be, a dump. Won't be anything crazy down the field. And even if it is, it's going to go to Scotty Miller and he's going to score a touchdown anyway. So Brady's first pass, minus 180 to be completed.
I think that is another lock of a prop bet, which is terrifying because the locks always are the scariest ones. Mm-hmm. But my number 3, my favorite thing about the Super Bowl is how it doesn't start at the kickoff. You could bet on, I'm sure there's things to bet on before the national anthem, but you could bet the national anthem, you could bet the coin toss, and then you get amped up from those 2. Maybe you hit both, maybe you miss both. You don't care. You're super fired up. Then you take my number 3 bet. First play is a run. I love first play bets because you're like, there's nothing more like, because the players on the field aren't in any kind of anticipation because it's the first play of the game. You're the only one that's anticipating anything. And then it happens, and then the rest of the game.
Then you just have to sit through 3 more hours.
Did you see Uncut Gems?
No.
Yeah.
So that crazy parlay at the end, he needs like Kevin Garnett over. He needs over rebounds, over points, and I think the Celtics to win the opening tip.
That really happened, by the way.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's like actual game footage in that movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so his first bet of a giant parlay is the Celtics to win the opening tip, which is a crazy thing to put in a giant parlay that you need to save your life.
Mm-hmm.
And like his anticipation and like how fired up he gets, and that like chase that high all the time. Don't chase what happens the rest of the movie, but that feeling, chase that.
Fair enough. Well, I do like the opening, like first play, first pass, stuff like that, and first run. So for my number 2, I'll go back to Tom Brady, which was where Kevin was with his number 3. But I'm not looking at the passing game. I'm looking at the running game. So rushing yards for Tom Brady is set at over half a yard, 0.5. He is one of the best QB sneak guys of all time. All he has to do that is one time, and I win. 1 yard. He needs to get 1 yard. He needs to take off, fall forward, and get 3 yards because Chris Jones is chasing him, and I will win. I'm very confident that in a 4th and 1 situation, he'll just fall forward, get a yard and a half, and I'm done.
You run the risk, though, if he gets a yard and a half and then takes a 2-yard loss later in the game.
I don't think sacks count.
Not a sack. Maybe Brady doesn't really scramble, but like
exactly.
Okay. You
I believe sacks count against your pass yards. It does go against something.
I go by fantasy football rules, and I don't think it counts. It definitely doesn't count against your rushing yards. But yeah, so more of the story. it would be very tough for him to go backwards.
Yes.
Unless I don't know if QB kneels count as rushing attempts, but
They
that
do.
would really
They do.
Screwed a bunch of
They
people.
do.
annoying. But I don't even, like I don't expect us to be like, oh, they're gonna be kneeling down because they're up 21.
Yeah.
So over half for Tom Brady.
My second here, I want to know where you guys would go for this. Team with the first sack. Chiefs are plus 115. I mean, we've been talking about JPP and Shaq Barrett against those two backup tackles for the Chiefs. So I think they have a chance to eat. But, I mean, what has happened in Brady a lot in Super Bowls? He's gotten sacked. So I kind of like the Chiefs to get the first sack here, plus 115.
I will say, because of what Colin said about both tackles being out for the Chiefs, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Mahomes. So
yeah,
I don't know if it's as surefire as we think.
Sidebar: the two tackles are out, so he's going to be scrambling a lot. I would take the over on his rush yards.
Mahomes, yeah,
he's going to be running a lot.
Yep, he is.
All I saw was 0.5 from Brady. I didn't even look at Mahomes. I was like, 0.5, I'm in.
Yeah.
My number 2. Did you already give yours? Yeah, you gave yours.
Yeah, you're 2.
My number 2, someone had to take this. It's the fat man touchdown.
Good call.
I think we get one. So there's 2 options on DraftKings. It's either an offensive lineman gets one, or either an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman gets one. I think the safer bet is to do offensive or defensive, because I feel like it's more likely that a defensive lineman gets a touchdown anyway.
Yeah.
Pick up a fumble, walk it in.
Yeah.
For sure.
What does it even take for an offensive lineman to get, like, the ball is tipped and
or if you bring in an extra offensive lineman and you declare him pass eligible.
Mm-hmm. The trick play from the 1 yard line, he sneaks out. The Chiefs have done that a few times, so
they have.
Past them.
They have. All right, what's your third, Aidan?
All right, my number 1 prop bet. I'm going with the first song for the weekend in the halftime show. Before I get into my choice for the song, I wanted to talk about the tweet from one of the reporters who was like, last time the game was in Tampa 20 years ago, they had the boss. Now they have the weekend, and wrote it in this like kind of just derogatory way towards the weekend. Like, and it read as 20 years ago, they had one guy perform, and now 20 years later, it's somebody else. Like, who cares? I'd love because boomers hate new music. They hate anything aside from washed up 70s rock stars. I'd love for the weekend to come out and play his old stuff and just like fuck with just all the old people. Like if he performs stuff off Trilogy, like Coming Down, High for This, and it's just all about drugs, I think it'd be hilarious because everybody over the age of 40 would have a brain aneurysm over a halftime show. But
can you imagine if he opened doing a remix of a Bruce Springsteen song and they just hated it? That may kill them.
Be hilarious. And you know how like Bruno Mars and Beyonce were there at the same time? Like, what if the weekend brought out Bruce Springsteen? Like, what a collab!
That'd be awesome.
That'd be
I know this is a football podcast, but I'm just going to say this out loud. Bruce Springsteen.
Don't you shut your mouth.
No,
shut your mouth.
Bruce Springsteen stinks.
No, he does not.
Yes, he does.
Your mouth.
He doesn't sing. He just
You're 12.
runs and talks.
You're 12. You're 12 years old.
You don't get it.
Nope.
But to bash the weekend and say Bruce Springsteen.
So,
come on.
Wait, no, his point was good.
The Weeknd is a much better singer than Bruce Springsteen.
That is fair. Like, this guy's voice is incredible. It's just like 45-year-old white guys who have known nothing except for Fish, Dave Matthews Band, and Bruce Springsteen being like, oh my God, there's other music in the world aside from like rock songs about going to your small town bar. No way. Like, there's songs about other things in life, like them being awoken to that other side of music, which is every other genre aside from classic rock. Is just so funny how they're infuriated by it in the Super Bowl.
Also, I don't know if you already said this, but like the boss versus the weekend thing, they're like, oh, millennials don't like to work. They had the boss, and now they have the weekend.
I did not see that, but what? Yeah, that sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I think that's what he was implying by that tweet. Can I guess who it was? By the way, was it Ravel?
It was not, but I'm sure he'll have some corny ass tweet coming about it. But it was a blue check mark, but I did not recognize the name. I could find it, but it's literally not worth the time. Anyway,
All right.
to get back to the song that I think it is, I'm
Yes.
going with Blinding Lights at plus 400. It's the song they've been using in the promo for the Super Bowl halftime show, and it didn't even have the best odds. Like that Starboy had the best odds. And like you just had everybody singing Blinding Lights on the commercial for 6 months straight. And you're not going to come out and do Blinding Lights off his most recent album?
I don't think you open with Starboy. It's too much of a hit.
That's what in the article I was reading, they were like, "Oh, Starboy because it's the biggest hit." And I'm like, first of all, I don't even know if it's the biggest hit. Two, I know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
with you on that.
Like radio wise, I feel like that got the most like radio play. Like that's the song that like white moms gonna be like, I remember this. Like
I remember this.
So they're gonna put that like towards the end, probably, or in the middle when people start to be like, this is kind of long. They're gonna play that once people kind of get pulled back in.
Back into it, yeah. But it's like you just promoted with one song and one song only. Why wouldn't you just open with that song? And it's a good opening song too. And he's not going to come out the Heartless because the first line is just like, we know what the first line is. He's not going to cuss in the first song in the first line.
What is it?
I'm not doing it for you. Everyone's heard it.
Well, hopefully the Weeknd's halftime show does not send us into another pandemic like Shakira's sent us into one this past year. So
Yeah, she spit on the camera, sent us all.
Yeah. That's how COVID started.
Mm-hmm. That and Rudy Gobert touch those microphones.
Like what? And apparently the Weeknd is spending $7 million of his own money because the halftime performers don't get paid.
Yeah, but wait, is that true?
Mm-hmm.
They don't get paid.
Nope.
And he's putting up $7 million.
Apparently.
I saw he listed his tour dates today. I guess that's why he's spending $7 million to go do a show for free. My tour dates would be that long too and stretch across the continent.
Yes.
If mine were like that too.
All right, my last prop here. Travis Kelce, huh?
I forgot we were doing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Travis Kelce over under 7.5 catches last week. 2 weeks ago, he was 13 targets, 11 catches. I'm pumping the over on this. I feel like they're going to feed him the ball. There's no real way to stop him, especially if the cheetah's getting his. I clearly can see him getting over 7.5 catches.
That's a good one.
So my last prop bet, it's hugely. Did any do? No, I'll get to it at the end. I don't want to distract from my pick. Hugely popular bet. There was a lot of rumors about what it would be last year because there was something going on at the time. So I have Gatorade color.
Mm-hmm.
I think blue is a lock, especially if it's the Chiefs. For healthcare workers.
But then there's other bad people that be like, why are you supporting the police? And
no,
that would cause a whole issue.
If it's the Chiefs, like they have a doctor on their team, I feel like you're looking at me confused.
I didn't know they had a doctor on their team.
Yeah, his name like Duvernay Tardif or something. I butchering his name, but he took the year off to like go be a doctor. Like he got his doctorate while he was on the team, and he took the year off to go be a doctor.
Very interesting.
Did not know that. But
yeah, so
I think that is a good pick though, like you said, for the healthcare workers.
Especially if the Chiefs win. I mean, the Bucs are from Florida. You know how they feel about COVID down there, so they might just do something else.
Everyone gets to come down and drink from the same Gatorade.
Yes. And deal with it. All right, before we get out of here, who wins? What's the score?
Who cares? I told you in the interview, I'm trending Buccaneers. I would love Tom Brady to win because it just bolsters the Eagles Super Bowl. I have the Buccaneers lower score than you would think. I'll go 30-27. 32-27. Something weird. 32-27.
That's exactly what I was going to say, but so I'll switch it up. I'm going to go 34-27 Buccaneers.
Wow.
I also have the Bucs. I bet against
Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I bet against Tom Brady in every playoff game this year except for the Washington game, and he keeps proving me. So until it flips, I'm taking Tom Brady now.
Fair.
And score, I don't care what the score is. It's gonna be high.
Hi.
I think it's going to be close and high.
And I still think that Scotty Miller and Tyreek Hill should race during the weekend's halftime show.
I don't want them to broadcast
phenomenal.
it, though. I want to see them just run by in the background of the halftime performance.
That makes me
In the dark, yeah.
Like how the kickers are kicking in the dark, like to warm up.
Mhm.
No, I can't. I just want one spotlight on them that's moving with them, and like one's way further back, and Scotty Miller, Tyreek Hill's just gone.
Yeah. I got some prediction questions if you guys want to run through them real quick before we get out of here.
You're gonna be so mad with the length of this podcast, Vince.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, real quick, let's hit it.
All right. So,
Rapid fire.
is there any chance this game isn't awesome?
Yes.
Yes,
What happens that makes this game not awesome?
I think Super Bowls generally are significantly underwhelming. Did you guys enjoy last year's game? Was that fun?
I forget who played.
Exactly. Thank you for proving my point.
Well, going back to our list, I had a ton of prop bets, and that's why I enjoyed it. That's like, I don't remember the score of the game, but I remember that Clyde Edwards-Helaire hit 3 bets at once on one run. So
The only thing I remember from last year's Super Bowl was that bomb to Tyreek Hill that started bringing them back into the game. It's the only thing I remember.
I remember nothing.
And Shakira and J-Lo's ass. That's it.
anytime Tyreek touchdown covered
Mhm.
that play. Number 2, how early does the over hit?
End of the second quarter. What is the over?
55.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's just an over. Let me get it.
4 minutes into the third quarter.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's 55.5. That feels low for a Super Bowl.
You'll sweat it out. I don't think it's going to be like a 52-45 shootout like people think. I'll just say that.
I was going to say third quarter.
Yeah, these defenses are going to come to play.
Yeah.
All right. Who is Belichick rooting for, and why is it the Chiefs?
I don't think he could give a shit, and I don't even think he's going to watch it.
I was about to say I don't even know if he'll watch the game.
Really, out of
Probably.
just because he's
He
Bill
just doesn't
Belichick?
care. No, he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He's on a boat.
I feel
He's
like
fishing.
I feel like he's seething that people are realizing Tom Brady was the reason they were good.
Which
Until-
would be another reason he might not watch.
Till he gets Carson Wentz next year and wins the Super Bowl.
All right, last one.
Can
Who's
you
most-
imagine?
Oh my God.
I'd be excited.
No, he'll get injured in like week 13, and they'll bring in
Nick Foles.
they'll bring Jared Stidman and win the Super Bowl.
Who?
Did I even get his name right?
No, Stidham. Jared Stidman.
Whatever.
Sounds like
Yes. Who's most likely to win MVP outside of the quarterbacks?
Great question.
Travis Kelce.
I was going to say Kelsey, but I will go. I think the NFL there'd be a lot of people upset if Tyreek Hill won MVP. I'll go feel good story since I think the Bucks are winning. It'd have to be somebody from the Bucks, so I'll say Chris Godwin. Just something I've always respected him, and part of the reason they were struggling early this year is because he got hurt and he had surgery in his hand. But now that he's back, that
He was
offense-
catching footballs like it was unbelievable.
Yeah. Devin White's another one. Like if they force 2 turnovers and he has an interception and a fumble recovery, like, yeah, you're in.
Watch out for playoff Lenny too.
That's what I was
Fournette's been
thinking about.
balling.
I might bet him to win MVP because there's no way his odds are even kind of good.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, all right.
All
Nice.
right. Thank you again to Colin Thompson. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Colin Thompson TU. Follow his career with the Panthers. Hopefully we get to see good things out of him next year, and we'll definitely have him on again. Thank you to Stateside Vodka of course. Drink Stateside Vodka during the Super Bowl. What else would you want to drink? And I'm going to go watch Sons of Anarchy.
Well, here's to the offseason, boys. Next time we'll be talking anything but actual on-the-field football. It's been a ride.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it. Yep.
Hey, idiots. Stop Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is
Dude,
gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.